Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
You know what? I talked to your mayor.
I'm ADA protected.
When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. A miracle, oh it was beautiful. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful. A miracle, oh it was beautiful. When I was young, it seemed that life was so wonderful.
The grill and the ghost, toasty coast. Who's that face that's feeling you miss the most? It's that umbrella guy straight from the hat rack. Godzilla with cleats with the bass dropping impact. Cranking up the stylings in the syllable blender. Body bag, toe tag, return you to sender. Poke that umbrella guy, your lyrical confessor. E-strap, flipped up, fully automatic microphone suppressor. Army of one, rolling through your silence. Pound for pound, unleash your rounds. See what buys are just my silence. Ghost riding the whip, the mask up, live ender. Boxing up your threats and returning them to sender. Step into me, you better bring your nation as I wreck you to the population. It's that umbrella guy on the verbal flamethrower. Notching up the belt, not just some lame shower. Cranking up a stream just to show what's beneath. I'm masked up, baby, but I'm still sporting teeth. With one bling to rule them all and one bling to blind them. Iced out, grilled up, hunting knowing we'll find them. The E-homes are always flammable, it will ignite you. Calling out the games you play just to spite you. I'm still standing. I'm still standing.
All right, what's up today? Oh man, I forgot to put on my uniform. Man, how could I be so thoughtless? Yes, this is your captain speaking. That's right. We are here on the we are here on the 56K cruise lines. Yeah, that's right. 56K. What did you say? Did you think you saw someone falling overboard over there? Well, let's widen that out, huh? What? I'm not seeing anything now. I heard about a walrus attack earlier, but here on the 56K cruise lines, yeah, I hear there's going to be a little reduction now. I hear we're going to be the 18K cruise lines. Oh my God. You better not step out of line one more time and I'll toss you overboard. Oh my God. Oh, these people. You want to hear something really funny? Oh God, this is funny to me, okay? So somebody sent me, well, a few people sent me this, okay? Apparently 2 L's have decided, since we make songs and we do it well, they're trying to, of course, get in on that grift. And they did a song apparently on Rumble called Rent Free. Now, I've not listened to it, but it is funny for a serial squatter to talk about rent free. Of course you're living rent free. I mean, how else are you fucking living rent free? That is the biggest cell phone I've ever heard. You talk about not thinking the game plan through. Rent free. Oh my God. When I saw that, that's amazing. Here on the 56K cruise line, we also do not require any type of credit check. Oh my God. By the way, apparently LMNOP broke her silence today. For a little while, I really did think she had been tossed overboard or something. I mean, I got the feeling on that for a little while. I thought, man, maybe that really did happen. I'm not sure what happened, but apparently she is back now. So, if you were like worried and thinking, man, something must have happened. No, I guess not. Oh, you want to see something funny? So look, I've been playing with the realism on. I wanted to see what it would do, and I told it to drop in falling person off a boat. Check this out, by the way. I think this is really funny, and then I'll show you the new post here. But check this out. So this is what we started out with, right? I was like, well, we need something a little bit better. We need a boat in the background. I was like, that's pretty good. Now let's try to make it a little more realistic. That's not bad. Yeah, let's go for a little more realism. Right? That's pretty good. Let's go for a little more realism. That's cool. I was like, wait a minute. Apparently when the walruses were kicking people off, apparently they didn't stop with one person. But then it started moving around. Finally, I got arguing with AI. I was like, you can see the circles on here. I was like, right here. AI could not get it right. I had to go in and do it myself. I was like, man, this is ticking me off. You can do by the way, if you need to move something around, you can do it pretty easily in your phones, if that's ever the problem. But it's usually easier just to have AI do it but it would not work for me. So check this out here. Oh, by the way, appreciate you all on a Friday. Friday's a weird day, usually the worst day to live stream, but always a good day. I thought yesterday, by the way, was good. I do want to bring up before we really adding tonight's intro to the Tug's Greatest Hits album. I know, man. Like, that's one thing I love. I love a really good bumping song, adding to last night's topic, talking about lips. What the Hell's put up something that was, let's just say it definitely seems to add to that, because the talking point in the ecosystem is that Leslie Federico's, that's actually her name. I agree with Jay, when he says that we should not extend the kindness of not including her name. I mean, she did go out and dox people. She did say that was part of her litigation practice. She was just doing it for the litigation, even though they crawled all over it, and then they dismissed it. So, yeah, if they're going to do that, then no extending kindness whatsoever. But the idea that they're on vacation, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard anyway. The idea that somebody went in and they dropped their litigation and they've taken and hidden all of their videos. They've decided to hide they've decided to go out, hide their websites and their content too. I mean, that doesn't sound like... Now, again, could she hide stuff and come out? Sure. But the dropping in the litigation and then this, this was pretty matter of fact. Now, first of all, you see what the hell, this is the legit what the hell's, by the way. You notice this, it's not over until I win. That is very true too. You know, one second, I got called. You know, one of the things that you understand about litigation too. Litigation is a very expensive process, but at the same time, people like Leslie Federicos and Michael Federico, since he is his name at least enables it, but I would say he's part of it, so he's part of the problem too. The thing is that they've done this to a lot of people, and letting it slide just passes the buck. So I agree that they don't get to slide. I am 100% with this. I'm not a passive bystander in this. Typically, I would be. Like I said, I do not sue people. However, if somebody wants to sue me, put me in litigation, take me out of it, then threaten repeatedly that they're going to add me they have 2 years. So, you know, essentially it's the implied threat. That's usually what probably keeps people from talking about her and the terrible things she does. You know, it's usually just more effective to pretend she never existed. You know, like family, I'm sure, family, it's probably horrible to deal with. I can only imagine that'd be horrible. But people that, you know, ex-consumers, clients, whomever, you know, people complaining to the bar, it's probably just easier for them to walk away, you know. No muss, no fuss. But that's not the breaks here. So What the Hale said in regards to a recent lawsuit being voluntarily dismissed. So we know who we're talking about there. And the individual being threatened by the flea. Copyright pending. Now, that's a funny joke, by the way, because apparently somebody thinks that you can copyright basic words. Well, I should just go copyright the flea. That'll show them. I'll copyright walrus. You know how stupid you'd have to be to think that. You know, here's the thing. If you really think copyright is that easy, why do you think some mega corporation hasn't just gone and copyrighted every word in the dictionary? I mean, if that's how copyright works, right? That would be the first move. We would already have that problem. You know, copyright and trademark, they have to be for, you have to create something with it. It has to be a specific thing. So, you know, if you wanted to trademark an image, I mean, you could take I don't know, a grotesque live streamer, for example, that looks kind of like a walrus and called him the flea. You could copyright that, you know. But you can't do anything about that. And, you know, I mean, Jeremy, I'm going to call my tech support in, you know, because they're making Jeremy and his jokes, you know. I mean, what can he say? I mean, I'm not a supermodel. That's what he says. Oh, my God. I'm never going to stop saying that. You know, he says I'm not a supermodel. I can hear it in my head every time. Just imagine every few coughs and breaks are broken up by that. He says I'm not a supermodel. Oh, it makes the clips a little more bearable. But here, from the flea here, that quote, if she doesn't show up on the live, there will be consequences. So, it sounds like there are threats. So the whole vacation thing, maybe that's not duck and cover. There's the implication that Leslie Federico's is being threatened by them. What the heck? Man, what the kids have a toy in here. Just a second. Hey, kiddo. Yeah. Hey, turn that off, please. Yeah. Hey, close my door. You got that toy? Can you close the door? Hey, close the door. Close the door, please. It's really. Yeah, close the door. It's really loud. Close the door. It's really loud. I don't know, but close the door. It's really loud. Yes, I know it's, but she's excited. We found a toy today and I fixed it. Yes, it's supposed to move. Close the door, please. Yes, close the door. This toy, we found an old robot toy, right? And I don't know if you've ever had an old moving toy, right? Right. But where I cleaned it up and I put I put in batteries and everything, it takes a little while to start coming back to life. You know what I mean? So at first, a couple of hours ago, it was probably about 35 minutes after I'd worked on it. The lights, it had blinking lights in its head. And they started to work. All right. Then afterwards, about, I don't know, another hour, little lights on the chest started popping up. Now, apparently, the movement in it has come back. And she brought it to the door and was playing with it. It took me a minute. I was like, what in the world is that awful sound? I thought it was my phone, actually, some sound coming through. But she was sitting right on the top of the steps. She's enthralled because it works now. I'm like, it's loud. It's very loud. I can't hear anything. One of the things, like with the microphone, it picks it up, and I wear headphones in here, and it sounds, even if it's not that loud there, it sounds almost deafening when I hear it there. So I was like, oh my gosh. But she's thrilled because we had that. And I was like, yeah, it works. It does. No, Dad, it doesn't work. I was like, yeah, it will work. We had to go in and clean the battery posts, and all that stuff out. And so I showed her how to do all that. And now she's mystified. By the way, somebody sent the other day lots of crafting stuff. You folks, thank you all, by the way, very much. Somebody sent a little wooden car, and I'm gonna build that with her. She's looking forward to that this weekend, And she ended up with megaton of lip gloss. Holy mother! I've never seen so much lip gloss. There were 2 bags of lip gloss, like these big Ziploc bags. They were closed and packed, and they were cool. Like they were different ones. I've been giving them to her in portions, today I gave her a bubblegum one and some Nerds ones. I told her they just came in the mail from somebody. So it's cool. There's so many cool things that she's enthralled by. But anyway, sorry, that threw me for a second there. So the implication with this here, like I said, let's just read this again, so we're on the same page here. In regards to the recent lawsuit being voluntarily dismissed and the individual being threatened by the fleet that, quote, if she doesn't show up on the live, there will be consequences. No one is on vacation. The clock is ticking. I agree. I 100% agree, too. Again, I think this has been unilaterally spoken about. You have people asking for communications with the ecosystem. If this person wants to walk, otherwise, I'm more than happy to file a counter lawsuit for vexatious litigation. Again, her posts alone, her garbage lawsuit, everything that she did, she filed her own posts, though, about how she files lawsuits just to put them in, essentially, as placeholder lawsuits. But she never intends to go forward with them. Yeah, that's a problem for her. That's a real problem for her. We have a strong case for vexatious litigation. And I feel, these people, they love to think that they're right. How many things have we called that were right? When you look at this. So no matter how smart they think they are, maybe they should start listening. And the other thing, their criticism, I think that's a very nice way of putting it. But their criticism of a Jeremy Hales is that he's very litigious. He sues. And you would think that somebody that sues, maybe you wouldn't want to go down that road. Maybe you'd want to give him what he wants. And I'm like, you know what? I'll join in. I'll definitely. If these people want to go that route, they have, I don't know, we'll put a weekend on it. I think that sounds fair. Do you think that sounds fair? The weekend. I'll give her the weekend to turn over what I want. Again, it's funny because when she brought her claims, she had noted, you could tell, you know how you could tell that her lawsuit was garbage, by the way, and that she never intended to go forward. You know, I never took it seriously in any way whatsoever, not from the old stuff. You know why? Because she didn't even bother to do the basics, the requisites to bring the lawsuit she did. The lawsuit that she filed requires cease and desisting. And you may be like, well, she did send out cease and desist to like what, Megan? Well, first of all, that you can't even prove that's a cease and desist. Again, there was no communication. The lawyers refused. And then right after that, they have to give 5 days to let it take 5 days. And they didn't do it. So her defamation, it was this garbage claim. She never even sent me one, never communicated with me whatsoever. Wanted to communicate by microphone, which is fun, you know, by the way. I'd much rather monetize her and make her look stupid. But when she turned it into a doxing sport, when she decided that she wanted to go that round, and she said it was part of litigation, when she played that game, yeah, it doesn't work. You know, not at all. I got to clear my throat. Sorry, I got coughs there. It's this weather. I'm doing better than I was yesterday. Yesterday was a lot of fun, by the way, with Jay, with Star, with Rogue. Everybody that was on was a lot of fun. The team, all of them together, they were all hilarious together. I thought, you know, it's a good banner. They have a good show too, you know, but they're all good people too. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. The 2 hours, I at the end of it, I was like, I don't think we said anything, and yet we sat there for 2 hours and said a lot. You know what I mean? I was like, we didn't really do anything, but it was a fun doing nothing for 2 hours. It was a good live stream. If you missed it last night, check it out. It was a lot of fun. But with this, I like the part about here. If she doesn't show up on the live, there will be consequences. Huh. So you mean to tell me that 2L is threatening? Is that what has been noted? I get the feeling there's been some communication. And we know that, by the way, we do know that there was some communication. How do we know that? Well, we did have that one email, and again, I had permission to share this. This came before the this came before again all of the madness of dropping out. But remember this. I'm not going to read all of this again. It was fascinating, though, that she decided that she would go this route. You know, she would drop this in and tell Hales that we have so much in common. Basically, please don't sue me. Please don't go after me. You know, I'm just going to drop out. No, you know, again, it's I kind of agree with something DUI guy said with Bruce and Stark and all of them. You know, he was talking about whether if they sued him, you know, if they decided to go that route, that he would respond in kind. And I agree with that. I agree that sometimes the only way to respond to people. Now, again, I am trying to be very kind in this, in the way that I would rather have other fish. She doesn't matter to me that much in the scope of things. I want the communications that the ecosystem had with her. I'm sure I want the communications with Vomit. I want the communications with Paint Chips. I want the communications with Bruce, with 2L, with LMNOP. I want to know what was going on there. I want to know exactly how they were planning, what, who's pulling the strings. Because I'm sure, like, she saw power strike. Again, her filings gave away a lot. If you missed this for some reason yesterday, by the way, the news yesterday was the lawsuit that she brought. This is big. I mean, again, you know, if you've never had a lawsuit pointed at you, by the way, any of it can be stressful. You know, I do my best never to let that come across as you know, anything other than laughing at idiots. But you know, they want you to be stressed about money and everything else. They want it to weigh on you. And Leslie tried her best to, like I said, to do personal harm. You know, that's the reason that, see, they all think, including my real name, that would be harmful. That's why she did it. That was, she was like, oh, found this out. That's why they tried that. It's the same thing, Bruce. It was his go-to, right? From, reminding me of shit like a Taylor Lorenz or all these other whack jobs would pull. All of them the same pile of stupid, you know? But the thing that set Lips apart was, again, her lawsuit was just absolutely bonkers. You know, there's a pile of letters, etc., that we did not get to go through, you know, that talked about her as far as the disciplinary action that she was avoiding. And there was a specific letter in that stuck out to me. You know, I was going through and I was reading everything, and actually, you know what? Would you like to see that letter? Would you actually like to see something that proves the whole, you know, my statement has always been that she retired in lieu of discipline, you know? So if you would like to see very much proof of that, I will pull it up in front of you. Okay. Let me, give me 1 second here. I will show it to you. Give me a minute. I saw somebody else message me and ask if they're blocked. If you think you're blocked, what you should do, we'll make it real easy, and I can check it while here. If you know, in your YouTube, you have a name attached to it, but at the top, like when you go and you look at your profile, you have a link, just like any web page or anything else. Just look at that on like Google or something, copy it, or you can copy it right off of your web browser, stick it in my mail. I'll click on it and I can tell you right off the bat. And if you are, I can fix it while we're talking. So, you know, there has been one person out of 6 now. Some people, remember, Google will hold some of your comments. All right. It's, they're weird about that. They won't hold all your comments or anything, but they hold things every now and then. So if you're looking for one specific one, why do they hold stuff to? Who knows? They think something might be objectionable, you know. Sometimes it's over nothing. Give me 1 minute. I've got to redact a couple of things off this, okay? So bear with me, but it will be worth it, all right? Because this, it 100%, I'm just going to paint over or clip off the thing. I'm not even going to really, you know, do much as far as making it look good. You know, I just want you to see what I'm pointing at. The thing about this is, though, again, it proves, and she knows this exists. That's the kicker with all of that. She knows that the whole in lieu of discipline, remember, she put out a video that said that, right? But the real, I think the real bombshell with that, again, she tried to say that it wasn't her dodging discipline or trying to get around it. Yeah, remember that? You know, okay, well, here you go. This is a letter to her from the Florida bar. Okay, so this is talking about the discipline, and this is in 2023. I'm going to put this full screen just so you can see it beautifully there. So there's no question about it. Now, again, this is in communication to her, and they're telling her, you know, this is what's going to happen. So it says, "Good afternoon, Miss Frederico's. The Florida bar is in receipt of your retirement request. However, the document provided requesting retirement status will not address the bar files that are currently open. As bar counsel, I will recommend to the executive director that a permanent retirement be accepted in lieu of discipline." That is what they did. It is brought up, those specific words come up over and over. She accepted this recommendation. She put this right here, these exact same words in videos from her, and then she fucking thinks she can sue over it? Are you kidding me? She wanted to sue over other people they said disbarred. Now, again, they are not lawyers. They are looking at dodging discipline with retirement. And they're like, oh man, that's big time there. You got your license removed. I'm telling you, no court would have ever let a garbage lawsuit like that through. And then the thing she pulled, like for myself, I've never said she was disbarred, ever. But she applied the words of anonymous people online. That could be her. She's used dozens of accounts, but she never planned on moving forward with a lawsuit. That was the thing. Like I said, she never even took the requisites, which she noted before were needed. She decided this garbage lawsuit she wasn't going to move forward with. Then she really messed up, especially with myself. Megan, she's not here today because she's out, with family business. She will be back next week. Somebody, by the way, I've had 3 people so far write, and somebody thought she had been banned on YouTube for some reason. I don't know if they wrote back. I asked them why they thought that. I think I asked them that. But I was like, why do you think that? One person thought there had been some falling out, I guess because the ecosystem pushed it. And then I don't remember what the other one was. But I was like, really? Oh, I don't know. But no, she is away. Family stuff, But she will be back next week. But she is as firmly dedicated to this, too. It's so funny, man. What people, the freaking ecosystems. By the way, again, fixating on kids. Again, these weirdos. Like I said, I would like you to tell me, in what world does it seem normal for an adult? Well, really, some adults, I'm going to say with some questionable past anyway, to fixate on not 1 but 2 5-year-olds. That's weird, isn't it? There's the 5-year-old that they said that it doesn't matter what the guardian says over there, that they will still do whatever they want. And they're holding money away from the guardian it's very strange stuff. And then they seem to, every live stream, fixate on a 5-year-old here too. It's very odd. I'm not implying anything with that, by the way. I'm just saying that's very odd. It's kind of creepy. Shouldn't fixate on other people's little kids. Especially, their whole thing is, oh my God, a little kid comes in and grifting. Like, it would be bad parenting, locking the kids out of here. I'm the only parent here. It's a toned down time at night. I'm the only parent here. So, what would be the better suggestion? Should I lock them out? Would that be good parenting? When you hear them screaming upstairs, beating on the doors, would that be good parenting? Yeah. Always be available. Always. These people, though, they've never looked out for anyone else, so they have no idea what it's about. But it's creepy, man. It's very creepy. Ugh. It's it is. I'm like, convict. You better stop talking about children's. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, you have lips. Again, I'm very curious about the threats, by the way. I have a feeling that there's a story we don't know. I also have a feeling that you know, they went out of their way to try to be like, oh, there's another mole. There's no mole, you know. And then they went out of their way to say that Leslie Ferderigo's was on vacation. She's just away for the moment. So she drops her lawsuit. She runs for the hills. She deletes everything. I don't think she's on vacation. I think that she's going to turn over some shit, or we're going to have a real problem. She is, anyway. Because like I said, I don't sue people. But man, let me bring up my icon. Give me a second. I had it focused on the middle. It blacks out. It looks awful that way because it doesn't look like anybody's here. There we go. It's weird. It used to auto change. You know, it just bring the other one up when you turned it off, but it didn't. You know, but what do I know? You know, Jeremy says I'm not a supermodel. Oh my God. I love it. I am curious about that. If she doesn't show on the live, there will be consequences. That's a really interesting statement. Want to know more? I definitely do. I have the feeling, though, with the ecosystem, that the ecosystem is not quite the happy place. You know, we've heard from multiple people that have been involved. Look at what Shara had to say about the ecosystem and being involved. How people would scream and yell at you, you know? I mean, the worst, the worst that you run into with like myself, you know, or anybody around here is we goof off and make jokes on live streams with you. You know, we needle you, but that's what you do with your friends. I can't imagine somebody yelling at me and telling me what I have to do. No. I mean, what's the gain? Like, explain to me the gain as being part of the ecosystem. If you're not one of those that has their hands in the $56,000 pie, that is. I mean, if your captain isn't speaking from the 56,000. I mean, they again, and what would be the gain long term? Because they no longer have that massive wallet that you're carrying around anymore. You know what, Georgie? See, that's what it means. You know, these are some nasty people. Well, Georgie just noted, by the way, that Head Flea threatened to call the CPS on me. What? What a weirdo, man. What a weirdo. You know, that's not surprising. You know, for people that play the child advocate, they certainly ignore every red flag of the people that they wanted to grift off of. But they certainly don't mind targeting others. So weird, man. So weird. Let's look at this post. So, after days, I had started to get get worried because. I mean, we heard the statement the other day that one more time, and they would either abandon ship or they would shove somebody overboard. You know, you had Element OP here talking about doing a video, which I'll believe, just like everything else coming from the ecosystem, I'll believe it when I see it. You know what I mean? But she went silent. 2 whole days. It was the weirdest thing. I mean, you know, because she's usually very vocal and stuff. And then for 2 whole days, she goes just silent. Nothing there whatsoever. I thought, man, maybe somebody did shove her overboard. It really does explain the whole purpose, though. In fact, actually, I don't know if you've seen this before. But I saw something. It was quite disturbing. I saw. Give me a minute here. I'm going to pull something up for you. Give me a minute. I've got to find it real fast. This will be worth it though. So I was checking out videos the other day, just minding my little old business, and I noticed a breaking news report on that from a source on vacation. Check this out. Would you like to see something that was wild to see? So check this out. This is something else. Here we have a little talking dog. Well, one Miyagi and Clyde telling us about this horrible situation. Let's see what they had to say about this. It'll take it just a second to start.
We have live breaking news from Miyagi, who's on location. Take it away, Miyagi.
Yeah, thanks, Clyde. Gosh, I was on yet another vacation, and you wouldn't believe I'm on a cruise ship, and well, there's been mayhem on board. There's been reports of somebody throwing some lady overboard into the drink.
Oh no!
And there's even video footage of it. It's just crazy.
Oh no!
Crazy, I'm telling you. And there were things said. Apparently, this guy said something beforehand. Let's have a look, shall we?
Oh no!
Apparently, he said, either way, we're going to abandon ship, or we're going to throw you overboard the next time it happens.
Oh no!
Exactly that. I'm just going to say that. And that's that. That's what was heard. And there were faint noises as she was going down, saying, "You're not a nice person." and then went in the water, went in the drink. Okay, back
She went down saying, "You're not a nice person."
Thank you for that breaking news, Miyagi.
Oh my God, what a terrifying report. What a terrifying report. Whatever is going on. So, obviously, I guess she swam ashore or something. I'm not sure. But for a little while, I was really afraid. There were bubbling noises. Said something like, "You're not a nice person." That's pretty good, I have to say. Oh my gosh. You want to talk about somebody that owns headspace in I'm not a supermodel's head. Oh man, Miyagi owns freaking prime real estate up in there. Just be careful, don't move into that block. But I mean, for real, they're talking about, I'm gonna copyright strike you over. That's why the whole conversation came up of whether or not your chat was copyright protected. That didn't come up over me laughing and stuff. It came up over Miyagi. Oh my God. Miyagi, by the way, what's really funny is just like, what is it, Peculiar Optics and several other folks out there, they were supporters. Several of them put their money where their mouth is. And, then they got to know these people over there, and they were like, oh. Now, again, I don't know about their stance with LP and everything else. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about their stance with the ecosystem. See, the ecosystem, it is a tool of LMNOP. And that's the way I see it. But the ecosystem is built by a specific person. It contains specific people. And again, they are not, as you notice from so much going on, they are not pro-Preston. They are not pro-Cook. They are not even pro-HG. They are anti-Hales. And I think a lot of people, they've seen the problems there. They also, anytime they've asked a question or anything else, they get treated like garbage. All of them, you know? Like these people just gang surf upon them, you know? And I'm not talking about like crazy chat disruptive BS. I'm talking about just basic questions. Like, hey, money. What's up with the money? All right, so here we have, though, 5 hours ago, we have LMNOP posting saying, so this is our house on our property. Why should I forget about it and put nasty storage containers on our property when I have a beautiful home that John and I already got this far on our own? Please stop believing lies. Now, weirdly enough, by the way, this is a strange post here. And the fact that, number one, I thought John was kind of out of the picture, except now I guess they share a domicile and they're going to share the big home together. Okay. So all those things, I guess he gets to be called all those things and still share. This is the weirdest shit I've ever seen. You know, like I said, the people that ignore it, they're telling you that she's a liar. And the people that either that or they tell you something more insidious about themselves, I suppose. I guess that's the best case scenario. But either way, then you see, I actually like the baseline for any kind of build, by the way, because they're telling you we did this on our own. So now when you look at this is a skeleton. I don't know. That's all it is. But, you know, remember that just in case anything starts up, you know what you had as a baseline. You can actually see that here. That way, like I said, when somebody comes in and they're like, yeah, here's your $18,000. Just remember, you know, you have, wasn't John listed on the bankruptcy as a domestic partner? Yeah, actually, he also signed the papers that she said were with protective services. He signed it as a parent too. So, you know, which is interesting because she's, you know, she talked about how she would never leave him alone with her and all that stuff. And now, you know, he signs documentation with that. Oh, also we had another post here. Let me bring up the other post as well. 1 second here. The other post was also about the video. The video will come. I don't believe it until I see it, Lynette. Sorry, but you know what? You've said it's coming for days. I do understand sinuses, by the way. I've had my own sinus problems too. But, you know, as far as your track record for videos and promises, I'll believe it when I see it. Okay? But she's like, a video's coming. All this darn rain and my sinus infection has not made it possible. What, with the rain, does it make it possible? Well, and then here's this interesting thing about a jewelry maker, you know, because I was thinking about the bankruptcy, which we'll talk about in just a second. But in the bankruptcy, I don't remember them talking about jewelry and jewelry makers and all that stuff. Do you remember them claiming anything with that? I don't, you know. But she said, I've been very busy trying to lean, is what it says, but learn how to use my. Now, you notice that little word there, my new jewelry maker, my. So, you know, that would be her jewelry welder. You know, what is a jewelry welder, by the way? Is that like owning a jeweler? Let's see, jewelry welder. I've never had a jewelry welder. Well, those are not very cheap. Wow. Did somebody come off that kind of money for that? See, what kills me now the ecosystem is calling her all these terrible things, right? And if you look up these jewelry welders, some of them are quite expensive, unless you get some. I mean, somebody could have bought like a really cheap one, but if somebody didn't buy a really cheap one, I mean, the ones that aren't like some name that looks like a typo, there are a few out there that's from, very disreputable companies, I would imagine. But if it's all the other ones I see popping up, they're between $1,000 and $2,700, $1,000 and $2,700. So somewhere between those goes. So what kills me is you have all of these products and money and all of this other stuff that was coming up too, and people, you notice how fast they were like, we're going to shut the money faucet off. And again, I agree with LP still. Her money. I hope she hears the TikToking, by the way. TikTok. That's the time. And again, what amazes me is I went back and I reviewed all the posts that she had put up, everything that she had said about the money and more. And what really strikes me with it is I don't think she knows how much money's there. I think she was told there was $18,000 there. I don't think she knows that for a fact. Because the way that she states it doesn't come off as I've seen proof it exists. I'm taking the word of somebody else that it's there. Not saying that it isn't, but I'm not that yet. Because it says, what was it? It says, quote, from what I've been told, there's approximately 18,000. From what I've been told. So that isn't knowing. It does make you wonder, like, why wouldn't somebody come up? Also, another thing that people might try to do, they might try to go and throw together some shoddy work and try to say that's $56,000 worth of work, So you can't question their financing because they can just write out a bill for anything and be like, yeah, this is what it is. But we ran out of money. It's like, Like I've seen people trying to hyperinflate that fence to $20K. Like I said, that's one of the problems with things. One of the problems with not being transparent with what goes on is the fact that you don't have any idea what amount of money there was, what it actually anything costs. If you bring in a contractor, that's another thing. Contractor has to provide you, with, okay, here's the lumber. Here's what it costs. Plus, at the end of the day, if it falls in on itself, then you can sue somebody. But the way they're going now, man, it's going to be amazing to watch the fallout. What's crazy, though, the other part of that first post, though, that I wanted to note, too, is the whole idea of the storage container thing. All right. People were trying to be helpful. People were they were giving suggestions and they were like, hey, you could get some of those little prop house type things, or you could get these, the container homes, whatever. You could get those there. And instead of being nice about it, she's never nice. She's not a nice person, to quote her. Look at this thing. This thing looks like some sweltering hell, by the way. I mean, it's like I said, it's a skeleton. Look at that. God. We used to build barns. Back in the day, there was this older gentleman that lived down the road from me. And his name was Mr. Grissom. Now, Mr. Grissom, he had one hell of a cow. If you've ever watched Breaking Bad, Jesse from Breaking Bad, he doesn't call it a barn. He's like a cow house. Well, this guy had a lot of cow houses. Cow house. I love that. I almost said it that way, but I was like, maybe you won't get the reference. No, but he would put up, we put up barns and all types of like go-to sheds, everything. And the way this is put together, like this would not pass spec for what we'd use for animals. And I'm not trying to be an asshole about it with that. But I mean, look at it. I mean, you've got a concrete foundation. You can see it there. God, by the way, I was watching the other day. I was watching one of the videos that included the fence, and I was looking at the concrete on the ground, and I mean, it really. I don't know if you've ever looked at the concrete around it. I'd never really paid that much attention to it. Man, I need to send those pictures over to myself, because the concrete on the ground, it looks like somebody just splashed concrete on the ground. It is wild to look at. It looks so bad, you know. It's another thing. Contracting. It's important. You can tell when you have a professional versus, I mean, they had the problem. Now, when I say a professional, you know, people may be out there and be like, well, you know, not everybody could have a professional. Well, they could. They had plenty of money. They had, instead of doing that, though, they took in people that have no idea what they're doing. Again, you know, they're bragging about this, which, okay, that's fine. But, man, that looks like, first of all, that's not an accommodation for anything right now. And she's saying, well, we got here on our own. We can keep going with it. Oh, my God. You hear more talk about no more money. I am curious, like I said. There's many people in the ecosystem that are like, I will never raise money for this person. And even if they do go back on board, will any of these fools give up their dollars or dues anymore? You know, Lynette should also be mad that 2L and the gang burned her grift to the ground. They did. And, you know, they burned it down on the word of people. Again, backbiting bullshit. Now, I believe it, to be honest. I believe that Lynette was probably what was described as her being obsessed with money. To quote it again, she has gotten really obsessed about the money being made off her story. I would probably say that's true. She's probably wanting to know where her money is, like how much there is, what's going on. Why am I not seeing any of this? What's happening? You know, because you people tell me to shut up, to not post videos or anything, but you do it. You do all of this stuff. So what's up? You know? So, I mean, I do believe that, but still they decided to take random people at their word, who later on they insulted a couple of them. But it's just, I digress. It just shows you like how creepy and weird the ecosystem is, man. But you know, after that, any of these people that would give money again, holy God, look at this setup there, though. Where in the back, like there is no, is there any kind of gutter to the back at all? Is it just one straight line? It's not a very good picture. You know, it's hard to tell there. I was looking again. Think about all that money you would be able to, what you could have done to that. I mean, they could have built that into something real. Instead, squandered. I fully expect, I either expect it'll be coming any day now, or, I mean, like I said, they may pop down there and try to throw something up real fast and sell you the idea that that's enough. That totally was your money. But at the end of the day, like I said, remember the fence. The fence here. This is here. Let me show you something. I saw a video on that. You know, they were showing the fence here, and I was looking at it. First of all, I was looking at it, and I was thinking, man, that's. But I noticed look at this. Like, what in the what, man? Look there. I never really looked at that before. But my Lord, it looks like it's splashing out of the ground. It looks terrible. I mean, what have we done here? Professionals, and that's why you hire a professional. Holy man. I mean, you got to admit, that's nuts there. Yeah, they have no permits. It's sand. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm sure there's asphalt. I mean, I'm sorry, concrete mixed into the mess, and God knows what else. I'm sure they have like a toxic mixture of God knows what in there, and they probably have no idea what the fuck any of them were doing. But man, I mean, like I said, when you look at it, you should just watch a video. Slow it down to the slowest speed available. There are shorts of I look up the fence finally completed, and they have them driving by it, and just look at it when it's new. I can't even imagine what it's like now, because with it there, it looks pretty bad. Okay, now there's a couple other things I want today, including the whole why I was talking about the ecosystem and everything. But there's another thing that's coming up very soon that LMNOP hasn't. Here, let me bring this up. She has a date that is fast approaching for her bankruptcy. Now, this notes why. Look at the dates on here. So, here is the order listed. Order to show cause why case should not be dismissed for failure to file list of creditors. Now, when I note this, by the way, I think I think everybody wants to see a bankruptcy go forward. Why do you want it to? Because she will. This will be the bankruptcy. Either way, they've already revealed so much. But if they continue with it, it'll be even worse for them, So they can do that, or they can unpause Fed Case 1. Either way, it's all good. Either way, it's a shit show. So it'll be fun to watch. But with this, they file on the 3rd, July 2025 for the Chapter 7. Now, with that, again, as we've noted before, because this has been pointed out to them before, a list of creditors, they need those. Now, they need to contain the name and address of each entity included or to be included on Schedules D, E, F, D, E/F, G, or H, as prescribed in the official forms as required by 11 U.S.C. 521 A1A and the federal rules of bankruptcy protection. For that reason, it is ordered that the debtors shall file the required list of creditors no later than 14 days from the date that this is ordered. All right. So what is that date, you might be asking? That would be the 21st. That is right around the bend. So they don't get their asses in gear and actually file something soon, then $6,000 dues right down the drain. I'm telling you, this is an absolute shit show because there is no reason whatsoever that things should be taking this time away. They note too, failure to do so will result in dismissal of this case without further notice or hearing. So they're not going to tell you, they'll just dismiss, and they ain't giving you that money back, people. Like that's the thing. But regardless, there is no reason that $6,000 shouldn't buy you the best. Not this level. It should be the best level of care. If you are dropping that kind of coin, like I said, something's wrong here to me. Like this seems bizarre to me. Why in the hell is it coming down to they warn you again, they warn you a final time? Yo, this is serious. And they're like, we're not going to warn you again. I mean, it's like they're speed running. How fast can you lose $6,000? Holy crap, This bankruptcy thing has been a disaster from go to. I mean, you're talking about first, when they kick it off, they lie about what they're funding. They tell people that, hey, we're getting together a lawyer. By the way, I'm sure if you're one of those people that gave your money, I'm sure you've got to be sitting there thinking by now, why exactly, if Preston is all these terrible things they've said as of late, why have they asked people to give over $100,000 to this person? Could somebody explain that to me, by the way? If it's not a pro that person movement, why in God's name? If you're telling me, oh yeah, well they may be bad, but this guy's worse. Why are you giving that type of money to somebody? Why are you giving, again, home, parties, merchandise? You're setting up, I'm sure that they've been played. There's no way that all of that display stuff and everything else didn't come from somewhere else. Also, there's the other place they're set up. Who knows how much money's in all of that? I do wonder about bills and other things, if other people have helped with that stuff too. You know, if that, because who knows? But lawyers, court costs where they've asked for money. Again, you know, these people have inserted themselves into it, and they've tried to deflect. See, they want to deflect and change this subject. They think that people out there are so stupid that they have to flip the page every couple of days. If it's not a brand new shiny thing, that the people that are out thousands of dollars, they'll somehow forget. Maybe they will. Maybe they're all idiots. I don't know. But I would not be happy. And to make matters worse, again, you have 2L out there saying, oh, I just directed you to that. I didn't set it up or anything. So they're telling you, best case scenario, they're telling you that whoever wants to come around and bilk money out of you, it's all good. It's all gravy, baby. But worst case scenario, well, you fill in those blanks. I mean, it's just passing the buck. I say worst case scenario. Because you're telling me they didn't know, really? The way these people freaking, you've seen screenshots of all their plotting behind the scenes with this freaking, you only needed one of those with the whole, when Shara showed that, man. You know the one where you're famous, Lynette, but we don't want to admit it, that screenshot? Yeah. I mean, now, I wanted to go over a document today with you. One second. God, that's a big document. I wanted to go over this wonderful one because we keep having lies about service. You know, they keep popping up repeatedly. Give me a second here. By the way, there are almost 3,000 of you today. That is amazing considering it is a Friday. Fridays are one of the worst days to stream, like I said. So appreciate all you folks. If you would, share. Tell people we are still on. Also, if you would hit that like button, make sure you subscribe. If you want to go further, you want to help out the channel, your breadsticks are always a welcome addition. And thank you. As I said, it's been a while. You know what's bad is there's so much more to still go over. I have a list of things that still need to be hit here. I was thinking the bankruptcy would park it for a minute too. So that would also have been a welcome sight, you know. 2 months you can catch up everything, hopefully. I say that, but all the other shit comes up. This though, they keep lying about service. And, you know, a judge themselves wrecks their lies about it. If you read through this, we talked about this came up yesterday. So we talked about what it said, but we didn't cover it. So let's look at this. So the court recently explained that according to the docket, defendants Keezy and Super Dave have not been served, and the 90-day deadline for completing service had expired. That, if you were keeping score, would have been, this is Fed 2, by the way, that would have been Doc 86. This, by the way, is Doc 97. Thus, the court ordered plaintiff to show cause why their claims against the two defendants should not be dismissed under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 4. Plaintiffs now responded to show cause. That would be, again, this document 96. For the reasons below, the order to show cause will be discharged and an extension of the service deadline granted. Now, again, they keep lying anyway. They keep telling you, you have 2L saying they haven't been served. What? They were saying some ridiculous shit on that. By the way, weirdly enough, I saw a clip where they were complaining about Megan yesterday. I was like, Megan's not even been on all week. What the hell, man? Oh my God, these people, dude. Discussion. Under Rule 4M, if, quote, a defendant is not served within 90 days after a complaint is filed, the court, on motion or on its own after notice to the plaintiff, must dismiss the action without prejudice. Again, that the defendant or order that service be made within a specified time. Now, the rule further provides that, quote, if the plaintiff shows good cause for the failure, the court must extend the time for service for an appropriate period. But, quote, even in the absence of good cause, a district court has the discretion to extend the time for service of process. Now, this is the thing that they lied to you right off the bat for. They kept saying that when time runs out, everybody goes free. That's not true. It can be. Like in the case of Lips, for example, there was nothing that went forward. She had already signed up for almost 2 months of BS, right? We were talking about a case that had gone on that long, that she's notorious for not serving people. You know, so no effort, no nothing. Of course, that ends up getting crap dismissed right from go. But when you're putting in the time and energy and when it comes down to trying to find somebody and they're doing their best to dodge service, that's a little bit different. Now, also, I hate to say, but when you're dodging service, I mean, you can get people to set on you, you know, and they want it that way, I guess. It's so weird. It's so weird also. You know what's really strange to me? That the person who told us about the high-speed chase, they told us that in a live stream that the documents, they were left on the fence. They had gotten them. That's even in their own words. They talk about them. They talk about the case. They talk about the service person. They confirmed the story. They just try to spin it a certain way. But they confirm everything in their live streams recently, where that story that the service provider actually had told that they did. Oh, it blows my mind, man. You don't think that somebody would go out if they're dodging a subpoena and actually say, "Oh yeah, somebody did try to serve me. I just ran away from it." Yeah, I knew what it was for, and the papers. Yeah, I've got a hold of them, but they didn't technically serve me right. Yeah, well, let's see if that technicality works for you. That's your best case scenario for them. They admit stuff under the law. It's like, yeah, okay. You don't admit any, like again. I mean, to be honest, I would have made Lips's life absolute hell to serve me. She would have had to pay a lot of money. She'd had to find me. I would have gone where is Waldo. I wouldn't answer the door for her or anything. There ain't no way. She'd have to pay somebody to sit on my house and freaking catch me going out. You know, because I know she can't afford it. That's the thing. So, I mean, I get that. But you know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't sit on here and brag about it. Now that it's over, she also can't add us again. Remember the whole vexatious litigation thing? She actually screwed up, by the way, where she took us off. She bragged about it, put us on, and then dismissed it. If she tried it again, I mean, whoopsie, she's already messed up. Sorry about your claims, lady. We had one hell of a freaking lawsuit off of that too. So either way, she screwed up. But with this, different. So in the response, plaintiff stated that defendant Kesey, it was served July 15, 2025, which was after the 90-day service deadline expired. Plaintiff admits that defendant Stupid Dave is yet to be served because both defendants were not served within the 90-day deadline under the rule. The plaintiffs must show good cause for the failure to effect timely service. Now, the plaintiffs argue that good cause exists and they seek an additional 45 days. Where was the footnote? Footnote. Where are you at, footnote? Am I missing? Oh, there it is. I missed the footnote. I was like, where did it go? So they know with the defendant Kesey, by the way, they're going to note that they need proof that they were served. So you're just going to have additional, they're going to have to attach proof that it was there. So it notes, unless service is waived, proof of service must be made to the court, but plaintiffs have said it's forthcoming. So all they have to do is provide documentation saying it actually happened. Now, which again is funny because people were, they were helping them even more with proof of that. they even showed on stream a picture of the papers. Oh my God, it's so funny. They told you what they were and everything. It's so dumb. It's like, oh my God, why would you do this? Now, as to defendant Kesey, plaintiff states that although he has now been served, several attempts at service were unsuccessful due to his residence being blocked by a fence. Plaintiff asserts that they attempted to serve the defendant at a public location where he's known to frequent, but were again unsuccessful after being told he no longer frequents these locations. Plaintiff states that private investigating service was used to finally effect service on them, who allegedly fled from the server in a vehicle. By the way, do you want to argue that? Because if you do, you admitted it on stream. Idiots. You told the judge. Like your defense, you could have played any way, but the one way you don't play is actually. Now it's just stupid, Dave. Plaintiff states being unsuccessful 4 times. Plaintiff asserts that the private investigators have now located 3 other locations for Stupid Dave, and they believe that will be served in the next 45 days. Plaintiffs argue that good cause exists to avoid Rule 4M dismissals because they made diligent efforts to serve both of them and have been hindered by external factors. Alternatively, plaintiffs argue that the court has discretion to grant an extension time for service, and that discretion should be exercised here. Now, plaintiffs state that equitable factors supporting an extension of the service deadline include plaintiffs' diligent efforts at service, defendants' evasiveness. See, evasiveness does come into it. That's why you don't admit you're dodging service. Like that again. I don't know how to get this over. I kept saying this too, because again, they're going to get them sometime. But come on, man. Like, why would you admit these things? This judge, again, through all of this, the decision and more, wrecks their absolute lies, just wrecks them here. But, I mean, for him to say, yeah, there can be an extension, every one of them has told you. Even those that supposedly know the rule of law have told you there's no way this happens. Again, why would you listen to their so-called law experts? Oh. And this is basic stuff. This is basic law. And a lack of prejudice caused by non-excessive delay in service. Yeah, that's the other thing too. You know, all those times they wanted to delay things. The defendants, they were asking for more time. That tells the courts, first of all, it's not really prejudice in anything. To delay. And on top of that, so the court finds good cause under Rule 4M to extend service deadline as to these 2 defendants. And here again is C, granted an extension of the service deadline where the plaintiff has made diligent efforts to locate and serve a defendant. So see, they are going out of their way They are trying to serve. So they are doing their due diligence. They're putting in their time to try to do that. Now, will the court run out of patience eventually? If you don't, sure. But one of the things you don't do is, again, you don't brag about how you're dodging it, because there are other things that can happen too. Yeah. You also noticed the way that was noted at the beginning. Here's a little lesson too in this. One of the things they skip in there too, if you look at the type of discharge that it talks about here, with this, it talks about a discharge of it without prejudice. So even if you were able to get that dropped, you could be at it again. You could have something else come for you later on. They get a couple of tries at you before again, that's a problem. So then you also have a Federal Rule of Civil Procedure for you, noting relief may be justified if the defendant is evading service. I don't know how many times I've said that though. If they evade service, if they're going out of their way to deliberately do that, then they can get relief. It's really funny, like when DJ Radis was doing all his stuff, you could tell how backward, like Stark and Bruce, all of their attempts were. You could also tell that they were working on a non-existent budget. They were working on whatever was given to them. I wonder, do you think any of that money went toward any type of court costs or anything? Again, I'm not saying it did. I'm just wondering, do you think any of that went there that wasn't supposed to? Or wasn't, I won't say wasn't supposed to. I will say maybe wasn't noted about it. Because again, it is LMNOP's money. Ultimately, if money was taken out of it and went to court, even though they did not disclose it, it would have still been her money. So it would have been legit. You just would have lied to the people it came from. So that would be a problem. But do you think some of that money? I mean, those two cases felt like they were ran on a shoestring budget, didn't they? I mean, it's like they didn't put it, the trespass 5 thing was so bad. I mean, I was so put off by everything going on with that. I actually tried to contact some of the people in there. Like I reached out to Travis, because I wanted to know if he knew anything about that. I was curious if he had heard anything at all. And he had no idea what was going on with that case. It's wild when you are part of something and you don't even know what the hell's going on. But them, I mean, this evading. So, like I said, it's so funny. You had DJ Radis. He was just flagrant about it. They thought, it makes me laugh so hard too. They thought DJ Radis was going to be the weak link. They did. And he ended up, just owning Bruce. That has to really upset him. Because his plan was to get DJ Radis to accept some kind of a deal. And then if he did, try to use that to make everybody else look like there was some kind of a problem, They would get him to admit to guilt in some way. And instead, he turned it into a Where's Waldo joke. He made fun of them the whole time. And they didn't know what to do. They didn't. They gave up on him. And they eventually gave up on everything. It was pretty funny. But anyway, even in absence of good cause, the apparent efforts by defendants to evade service would likely justify the court's exercising its discretion under Rule 4M to grant plaintiff's extension. So them trying to evade. Now, how would you note the apparent efforts? Well, maybe somebody bragging about it on a live stream might give that away, right? So again, this absolutely, I mean, this demolishes so many talking points. Like the idea that service, the idea that he went out, he tried to evade, which he told you about. He told you about the quote unquote chase. Now he wants to define chase differently, but he told you about it. Told you it happened. He told you he was dodging service. Oh my God. I mean, it's amazing to me. Why would you do that? Anyway, let's continue. But here, noting that evading service may justify the grant of an extension of time for service process in the absence of good cause. So conclusion, for the reasons above, and that would be the reasons they themselves have imposed, the court will grant, at least here's one thing. Stupid Dave, I love to laugh at Stupid Dave. Yeah, I do. But you know what? Because he's wanted to go back and forth with me. So I'm definitely an all takers kind of person, you know, but he's at least kept his mouth shut. He's kept his head low. And really, honestly, I don't see what gain there is for him anymore in this at all. In fact, anybody, like if I were connected to this shit show right now, I'd be wondering, like, why the hell? I mean, you see, again, Preston now is on the outs. Even if they bring her back, like that's exposed things to the public, they'll start to ask a lot of questions. He already didn't like John Cook. I mean, John Cook treated him like shit, but of course he fell in line later on for whatever reason. Then, yeah, now you're finding out a little bit more, a little bit of badness. Now, on top of that, too, you have the stuff with Only Me. Again, these people have treated this guy's friend like garbage. I'll tell you, like, if somebody, again, you don't have to go out and defend somebody you're attached to as a friend. But if I had an actual friend like that, like somebody treats like Megan Fox like garbage, right? We have a problem, you know? We do. We have a problem, you know? And I would hope they would understand that. You know, her being on my show says that that is my friend. So if I'm co-hosting with, that is my friend. So don't mess with them. And I would go to war for them if I needed to. So I would think, you know, if you have somebody like that, and again, these people, if they're treating them like garbage, there's a statement that's being made when you throw in with that. Now, again, if I'm being sued, I can understand not liking Hales and being angry about being sued. I get that too, very much so. But what was the point in throwing in with these people? Because I mean, again, Preston is being talked about as a liar now. These people are accusing her of being a liar and a terrible person. You've had Ray cut ties. Again, she can't be trusted with her own money. Like, you think about that statement. Why can't you trust her to give her her own money? Why can't she be trusted with it? I mean, if this is such a decent human being, why can't she just be given that and to go put together her thing? Like, why does she have to have somebody nanny her through it? Can somebody explain that to me? You know, again, if I were told that I needed to open my wallet to somebody to the tune of, well, the excess of $100,000, I would expect them to be a pretty decent human being. You know, a deserving human being. Now, if they had a need, like if they were their guardian, like say we're talking about somebody with special needs or something, I can understand that. You know, you have a conservator, okay. Lynette Preston out there is not only not have a conservator, but she has a minor in her home that she's in charge of. So there is no reason whatsoever that they should be giving money away from her. So again, explain to me that. You're telling me because she can't be trusted. If she can't be trusted, what? So she's not a trustworthy person? Why not? What do you think she's going to do with that money? You telling me that she would lie to people and take it? I mean, that's a hell of a statement, by the way, Lynette. You can't be trusted with your own money. Man, I wouldn't be happy. Either way, again, they've dug a big hole with that. But accordingly, this is what the court says. Before I get way too far off there, I will talk about that in a minute. I want to come back to that, though. The court's previous order to show cause, that's discharge. So document 86 doesn't exist anymore. It's dust, you know? It's been discharged. Deadline to complete service on stupid Dave has been extended for 45 days. That the defendant, Keezy, July 15th, that will be deemed timely as proof is shown. So there you have it again. They took a sledgehammer to their freaking narrative about how it never happened. Now we got dates and other stuff with service as well. We also got proof of raised service. That was the day I showed the Bruce letter. Because of course, I mean, it's crazy to think Bruce is writing Randy. What? Explain that to me too. For a minute. What point, like what purpose does Bruce have writing? Like, who does he represent in this? And as far as I understand, he's just a defendant. And yet in this, he's writing and telling them that if he doesn't do what he wants, that the letter that he wrote, it would be included in court filings, which is pretty messed up considering. And on top of that, he would be filing it with the bar. By the way, the bar ain't listening to shit from you, Bruce. You know why? Because it's the same thing that you pulled with trying to turn this into YouTube drama. The bar is your Levy County. Like where Jeremy Hales can't get Levy County to listen, you ain't never getting the bar to listen either. Because, I think they, in their sense, though, they understand that you're just a drama llama. Unfortunately, Levy County, I believe, is very wrong in their response. But people like yourself went out of their way to tell them, oh, it's just drama. It's just drama. By the way, I was thinking about this, too. All the issues that Lynette Preston is having with money right now. One of the things that the ecosystem can bank on, Levy County won't do shit for her. If she reports the issue with money to them, they're not going to take her seriously. I doubt they will. Now, Lynette, you can go and fill out an IC3 report. That is an internet complaint, essentially, that talks about scamming. Because if money was collected in your name and it is not turned over, they again cannot. It's so amazing. They can't withhold money from you. I talked to a lawyer about this because I was very concerned for her. Poor her. No, I wanted to know for real. I wanted to know if there was any way that they could go around and utilize the semantics to it. No. Because they didn't raise money. They keep saying that they didn't raise money with a specific goal, first of all. They just raised money for a specific person. Their own narrative, they keep saying it didn't have a specific purpose. Now they're telling you, they said fence, this or that. In fact, what's wild is they've taken money from some of their bigger donors and they've said they're not going to use it for the purpose that the donors stated, like playroom and all of that. So again, that even gives Lynette Preston even more cause. But I mean, ultimately the money was collected in her name. It's her money. So there's no reason Again, that she should not be afforded the money. And in fact, in the household that is currently holding her money, well, let's just say one person there, I don't think law enforcement, they would really want looking into what's going on to this. I would think they'd be like, yeah, I want to know about that. Because that might not be a good thing. That call, especially if it comes from Lynette Preston, that'd be a very bad call for some people, I would think. You know, elderly people saying they've been scammed. I would think you'd want to turn that money over fast. Actually, what they'll do is they'll try to get in the good graces of Lynette. Oh, if threats don't work, I imagine that was what happened. And I would not be surprised to see somebody talking about things like going down there and they're going to do this work soon themselves. You know, because again, you don't have to open the books. Anything to not open the books. You have to open the books to a professional. That's how they fix this, by the way. Lynette, hire you, get you a professional there. I'll tell you what, Lynette, if you want, you talk to them about auditing the books, and I will get an auditor. That's right. I will get an auditor for you. Now, I will control the auditor, but I will make sure that every dime is accounted for of your money. And we will get a total for your money. And you will get what's coming to you. How's that sound? That way, where they're telling you, you don't have any money, Lynette. They're saying that you can't, you can't get any of that because, I mean, how are you going to? Lisa's the one fundraising for you. Well, guess what? I will get an auditor. My auditor. But still. I'll make sure every penny, you will know exactly how much money you raised. You will know exactly how much money is left. Totally. It'd be your auditor. They'd be working for you. And again, they're not going to give you any money anymore to help you out there. They've cut you off. They're going to keep your money, I'm telling you. You watch. You're going to keep that line share. Nicety, too. If you fall in line, how fast does money burn? Let's see. I will, though. 100%, Lynette. You know, anybody can tell her that, too. See, these people have turned on her there. I mean, who am I? Like, again, the media circus, the PR circus wants to tell you that somehow in some way that we're all attached to Jeremy Hales. The only attachment there is that I believe is Sidori there. But you know what? Like I said, those people over there, I believe they attach to you, and I believe they attach to you for not purposes related to you. Again, they're not pro-you, which they proved. They are anti-Hales. Now, if you want that circus to drain every penny that you have, you just keep going your way. Or, like I said, you can reach out. I'm easy to find, and I'm telling you, all these people will tell you not to. But you can reach out to me, and I will definitely start helping you make that happen. Again, we can account for every dollar we do. I bet you money that the total you think, I bet you there's more. Because you know what? You're probably thinking that there's one source when how many sources are there? What do they use? Venmo, Cash App. They use Coffee. I mean, I don't know. They use PayPal, YouTube. On top of that, you know, how many items were sent? See, they're playing the game of Super Chats. When Super Chats were sent out, when they say they were for the express intent of Lynette Preston, you know, like they were saying, oh, today we're going to take up money for blah, blah, blah. Well, when they came in, they were like, oh, no, that had to be specifically earmarked for her. If it didn't say in the donation, now they didn't say that at the time. So even there, that's some Weasley bullshit. What you need is a real audit, like a cold, factual audit. Like I said, I'm my own person out here. I totally want to know. I want to know so much. But I mean, I can only guess at how much money there is. We're hearing more and more stories about people, you know, either through anger or whatever. They're talking about the thousands of dollars they gave here and there. So there's a lot of money that was taken up. How much money came in through, again, through all of these different, and are they crediting money that doesn't belong to that? Like the memorial, let's say. Are they taking some of the dollary dues that should be yours and it obfuscates through the, well, that was actually for the memorial? Is that one why they're taking your money? I mean, again, Lynette, offer open. You know, I don't have anybody pulling my strings. Nobody in the ecosystem, what they already hate me, so fuck them. They can't drop elbow on me. They can't, again, what was it Jeremy said? They can't tell me that if I don't do something, there will be consequences. According to, again, you know, the Leslie thing, it said again, you know, and the individual being threatened by the flea, that, quote, if she doesn't show up on the live, there will be consequences, unquote. Huh. I wouldn't bow to that. And then we know some great folks out there too. I mean, they would be more than willing to help as well. So anyway, offer open. Again, it will have an expiration date though. I will open that. I'll give it to you for a week. Absolutely, 100%. Just reach out, you know. I will not tell the ecos or anything that you reached out on. They will never know. Well, they will know eventually, but they won't know right away. They're not your friends, though. They made it clear. Again, one more time, Lynette, as they said, one more time speaking up, lady. And they will either abandon you or they will throw you overboard. What kind of language is that? I mean, what does that mean? They will throw you out of the boat. Like that right there tells you. The donations, I bet you. Any money that you thought would be coming in, I bet you it is dried up like the desert. You'd have to be a sucker to think these people will ever give you money again. And I do think that at the beginning that a lot of this movement was about you, lady. I do. I think it was people, not the people with the microphones, mind you, but I think that the people that were looking at it, they thought they were helping you. Now it is turned into this circus of all these other people, and it's about them. It ain't about you anymore. Again, I'll leave it there. What craziness. Oh my gosh, man. You know that money's gonna go way away fast. They're gonna be so mad when it all dries up, you know. 1 second here. Yep. Okay, so see. Yep. 1 second, I'm fixing somebody's block or mute. You know, so there's a second out of 7 people who have written. So there are a few. Like, again, that happens though. And also, there may be people, like, again, there may have been people that have had, I don't want to say a change in thinking. I think maybe they've seen a little bit more about the people they're dealing with, and maybe they're open to listening a little more. There's some people out there. I am more than willing to be like, yeah, okay, you know, I'll unblock you. You just write me, and I'll see what's there. And because you know what, people can have that moment, that change of heart. I'm not saying everybody that's had an incident. Again, you could have been accidentally muted or blocked. It happens, you know. But also, I mean, there are people that were muted or blocked with cause, you know. And now they're seeing a bunch of these people turn on them. And if that happened to you, you know, if you're like, oh my God, man, these people, I've seen them like throw away some hardcore supporters. So if that is somebody out there, then like I said, you just hit up too. I definitely believe in waking up and finding out, hey, man, you know, maybe, again, you may still disagree with me, but hey, if you start listening at least, so you'll at least see what's going on in court documents and stuff, something that you don't find out with certain other people out there. All right, so let me say I'm going to use initials because I don't know. I'm supposed to know who this is through Cash App. I'll say MCR. Thank you. There's a 5 there. It says, hey, thank you. Well, hey, thank you. I appreciate you there. You know, that is very much appreciated. Oh man, I got another Turtles game one. I'll bring that up for the next one. I'm gonna save that. That'll be funny, Allie. I like it. You know, I'm gonna save that one for tomorrow. Rach, thanks for the 10 there. Celebrating today. A year ago, my mom, dementia, almost died. Since she got out of the hospital, she's had to be fed all meals today. Picked up a spoon and started feeding. Oh, that's awesome to see any return there. It is, man. I hope that you can see some games. You know, I had my grandmother who went from dementia to Alzheimer's. It was awful. But I had an aunt that actually she had been diagnosed with dementia, and the diagnosis was off. She actually had something else that was causing problems. It was causing cognitive I'm gonna say dysfunction. I almost said disrepair, but dysfunction. And once they finally figured out what it was, she had to return to self. So that can't happen there. And hey, props to you there. And always remember to come over here, have fun, goof off. If you have a long day or something, you're always welcome. You can vent whatever you need to do, man. But also laugh at stupid people. That's also the fun. Appreciate you. Max Lab, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat there. And thanks for what you do too, brother. Much appreciated. As always, my friend. What's that? Zarina? Is that right? Zarina? Thanks for the 4 months there. Longer than 4 months. Puns come posse for life. Indeed. A lot of people are like that too. Longer than 4 months. Indeed. Sure. You know, the people for memberships too. Like if it cuts off for some weird reason. I've seen people like with a number reset or something. And it's like, yeah, no, I've seen you as a member for a while too. I don't know why that's there. But thank you. Very much so. Much appreciated. Love them up. And by the way, Liz, what's up, Liz? Thanks for the 5. Adding tonight's intro to the Doug's greatest hits album, jamming all the way home. Thank you there. I need to do the Wave Maker song. I haven't done that in a while. Stronger than the tide. I need that one again. That was terrible, by the way, singing. Hey, Liz D, thank you. Dropping 10 giftos in the bunch. Thank you, Liz. That is much appreciated as well. Good to see you too, Liz. Appreciate you. Very much so. I very appreciate you. Jack, thanks for Jack's mom. Or I said Jack's mom. Thanks for the fun. She was into musicians. You would think she'd be familiar with Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's true. You have TM Flea, if you could have. Yes, very much so. Everybody, you know, if you could do that, people, gosh, why wouldn't, I mean, you could do that to names. And you see how ridiculous the idea is that you could trademark just a basic word or a name. And then, you know, they think that you can punish somebody for saying that word. So do they think that Coca-Cola, every time I say Coca-Cola, you can punish me for it? What? Because I mentioned Coca-Cola while I'm having a stream? That's not how it works either. They even think like you know, if I just mention it regularly, no. If I mention it in while I'm doing something, no. Even if if you're careful, you can work in parody of product. You have to be careful about that. But regular names, are you kidding me? You know, you can do a lot of stuff. You have to walk it somewhat carefully, but these people have no idea what they're talking about with that. That's right, though. I mean, you're totally right with that. Name, I mean, why would I wouldn't even be able to say my real name, no first name, because somebody would have already trademarked that by now. Just J Hip. Thanks for the $5 there. Here's $5 to close the door. Indeed. By the way, too, that was a good live stream. I have to say, had a lot of fun. Go over, subscribe. Just J Hip. Everybody over there is really good. I enjoyed it. Jay's going to have a wonderful victory lap, by the way. You know, you folks tomorrow, you are in for a treat. Go over there around, I think it was noon 30. I say that to my kid. My kids are like, it's not noon 30, it's 12:30. You know, I say noon 30 and midnight 30. But I think it's around there. I think, did you say Central? Is that right? If Jay's here. I can't remember time zones. I always throw time zones up. Tracy, thank you for the 5 giftos there. Tracy, what's up? How are you doing, by the way? It is very good to see you because I appreciate you very much. Jay, thanks for the 5 there, too. If I was Lips, I would name everyone again one last time in a crappy lawsuits. It's on a roll. Yeah, you need a 4-fer, right? You're like, man, I need another one. Actually, if I were her, for real, like all joking aside, I would turn over this stuff. Like, what value did those people bring to her life? Honestly, even if she thought they were getting her involved in something that would actually roll her name out better and more, if she was trying to get publicity and stuff, like those people, they max out at a few thousand subscribers. That is the ceiling for what you can get at their main point. And only one of them gets that. The rest of them max out at a few hundred typically. I mean, like Ray doesn't count because Ray got a lot of that sent over to him from other people before he decided to stick that knife in them, because that's the kind of person he is, apparently. You know, but I digress. But yeah, I mean, why would you think that? So she was going to be smart about it. She should actually box up everything that she has. Not play the, I don't remember, I don't have anything. Oh, you know. Come on, Leslie. We know you keep everything on people. So I'm sure you have everything stored away. Just dump it out there. Block these idiots and go on. I mean, again, what added purpose do they have? Even like Volmit there. What is he adding to your life? I mean, well, because he wrote some articles in the past. Did it help you, by the way? Did they actually help you keep your license? No. Do you think in the future that his name on a piece of paper would help you? Probably not now. Do you think paint chips would? No. I mean, honestly, you know, I'm sure too. And if these people are indeed threatening you, is that what you want? I mean, you want the people that are supposed to be on your side to threaten you? I'm very much on my word. You give me what I want, and then you won't exist anymore. I will not remember you. I didn't talk about you to begin with. These people wanted you to be there, and you wanted to be there too. Don't lie. But yeah, turn over everything. Or we'll see. Debbie, thanks for the 5. Tug, if J-Hep was a good friend, he would have done your case per bono. I know, I can't believe he didn't do it per bono. Like, what a monster. That's good, by the way. Really, trying to charge me $20. What's up, man? What's up? Oh, I'm telling you. He did deliver a win, though. That was pretty amazing. That was. I've never seen somebody buckle under the pressure like that. Per se lawyer dropped that hammer. That's really good, Debbie, though. I liked it. Per bono. Maybe not. What's up? What's up? Maybe not. I hope you are doing great today, by the way. Thank you for the 5 giftos. Appreciate you. Always. Oh, I tell you, every time makes me laugh. You hear it too. Rach, thanks for the 5 gifted memberships with that too. Hey, thank you, Rach. I appreciate that. Like I said, appreciate you. Glad you're here. And I really, thoughts and prayers for sure. John. Hey, what's up, John? Thank you, by the way, for the $5 super sticker. U.S. Marine Corps, your vet as well. Thank you for your service, too. I'm looking at that correctly. That's typically what that is. Thank you for your service. And thank you also for a super sticker. The two are not the same, but they are equally, they are much appreciated. The Georgie thing, that's crazy too. Head flea threatening to do anything. Man, they have for real. Like the threats out there are nuts, man. These people. And of course, they'll be like, I never said that. Don't you think that, don't you think a supermodel, you'd think they would do that? Oh my God. Andre, thanks to the 2. Why did the exterior first before the interior? Well, you got to have some shell at least, right? But why not have a plan? You're right on that. Like the walls, why not put up like have some kind of skeletal structure, the way that they put that up, if you look at it, it's so bizarre because you can see into it and you can tell. What's holding it up? That keeps a strong gust of wind from blowing this thing down is what I'm wondering. And I figure that's what you're asking about too. When you look in here, what is holding any of this upper together? It doesn't look very, well, it doesn't look like it's got any support. The wood and stuff, that's what it's for, right? You're talking about needing insulation and all this other stuff. Yeah, you need, I'm surprised it's still standing, to be honest. Like looking through there, unless they've added something. Again, she should, what she should do is she should honestly, if they're going to pull we're going to come in and help, she should take video of everything that's there. And again, these ecosystem people will turn on her. They already have. They turned on her so fast. It was amazing. It's wild. And their thing too is you're all alone because those people over there, those people aren't your friend. Well, I never claimed to be your friend, lady, but these people are mistreating you. But yeah, it's a mess. They should have done a lot of things there. Like I said, we used to put together barns, sheds, structures, built quite a few of them in my day, and no. Great, thanks for the 2 there. It's probably a Hobby Lobby $10 soldering iron. Talking about the jewelry welder. I wonder. I don't know. Do you think, or do you think it's it's probably a gift though. It was probably a Christmas gift or one of those. It could have came out of money. I don't know. But equally, it could have been, gifted. Like they put together Amazon wish lists and had people go through them. Remember when they were sharing their wish lists? One thing I do wonder about the wish list, wasn't the Christmas thing, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't all of the Christmas stuff, was that sent to 2L1? And then brought in like the person was, the worst Santa impersonator ever. Oh my God. It's like low budget bad Santa. It's like the movie brought to you by Hallmark or one of these off channels. Oh my Lord. I do wonder. Thank you, Rage. I do wonder about that, though. You may be right. It could be that, too. Just with people gifting, I imagine it came off like maybe a list or something. Janice, thanks for the 10 there. This brown and white building is Lynette's barn dominium, 1,000%. It's weathered since the photo was taken. It's been on the property since 2022. Yeah, no plumbing or electricity. I thought I'd seen the thing with more discoloration, so weathering makes sense. That 100% makes sense. Like I said, what they need is a before if anybody walks in, because people will pull a fast one, you know. And just look at the type of people. Look at the people and look at, well, look at what's been said about them and some of that stuff. Maybe you should pay attention. Go Bunny. Thanks for the 11 months. Well, almost a year. I know. I said, hey, GA Bunny. My bad. I said go. Go Bunny. My bad. Totally. Man, some days myself and reading, we almost don't get together there. It's almost been a year. That is amazing. 1 year. Isn't it wild how this stuff is coming together? You know, also another thing, I told you before that there was no way we were going to have the trial in August. And that judge, you know, he was like pounding on his chest, basically saying we would have it in August. I was like, there's no way. These people plan on delaying it. And they most certainly did. They did delay it. By the way, Lynette, you need to fix your bankruptcy. It's going to fall apart on Monday if you don't. You know, creditors and addresses. Jesus. Somebody from the ecosystem needs to tell her, Marla, you keep speaking for her. She does. Even though, this is amazing. Even though Marla, we now know that she hasn't talked to Lynette in a freaking around a year, and John Cook doesn't speak to her either. She still commandeers her voice and talks for her. It's strange. Like, I really think like she thinks that gives her some position or authority. You know, it's the most attention she's ever gotten. She does that on posting boards. It's so weird. When you know that for a fact now, that there's no communication, it makes all of those posts just so much more bizarre. But yeah, thank you, by the way, for that. You're right. Thanks for the 5 there. Lynette needs to hire Bob the Builder. Can he fix it? No, he can't. Indeed. If Bob can't do it, well, you know, like I said, the 50 plus thousand. Again, when I note that, what's really off when I note that number again is that it's only one person, but with that amount of money right there, they should have been able to do what they were talking about. All the stuff that they said that they needed, they had the money for. Like, to me, either Lynette knows where that money went. If she knows where it went, then that might be a problem for her. If she doesn't know where that money went, because, you know, what blows my mind here is she seemed pretty content in the idea that there was only $18,000 left. You notice that? She said, you know, from what I've been told, there's $18,000. Where'd the rest of the money go? Again, Lynette, I hope you hear this, because the fence, that was paid for mostly by gift cards and outside donations. You had numbers brought up of donors just for the fence. There was $1,700 shown just on the screen in one little screenshot area. Plus, there were thousands of dollars in gift cards. That was paid for, it looks like, by that alone. And who knows how much more money came in with that, too. Then, I mean, really, what else have you got? I mean, you know, they talk about the pile of wood, the toilet. Like, what else have you really gotten there? Taxes? Because I don't know if these mathletes are keeping up out there or not. But even if we were talking the only meat money, we're talking close to $40,000. Like, there's no way that, again, with other people, that you're not missing at least $40,000. You're going to tell me that there's been enough done or spent, unless there's other money that's been spent behind the scenes. And maybe that's why there's no complaint about theft anymore. You know? See, I was thinking about that too. I was like, well, why hasn't she complained about it? I mean, maybe it could be threats. I don't know. Maybe she's afraid of being left out in the cold, or maybe it's because she seemed okay with $18,000. And there's no way in the world what they have claimed to do cost as much money as they're saying. Again, 40 plus, easily $40,000 would be gone. Like, what would that have gone for? But yeah, the Bob the Builder thing's funny. Rider Chick, thanks for the 5. Happy Friday to the girls. Thank you. Check your email. Try to be funny. I would check it out there for sure. Hope it makes you smile a little. Thanks for all you do and appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate you too. I do very much. I really appreciate, I appreciate everyone, first of all, but I really appreciate after people are here for a while, I see you in the chats, I get used to your names and stuff. Like I said, you all make the channel, so I appreciate you all. And you all show up all the time. And this subject is amazing. And I'm glad that people are there to explore it. Because I mean, the meltdowns are happening now. It is as promised. You knew it was coming. Ugh, good stuff. Bunsen, thanks for the 5 there. Process servers usually use drones and body cams these days. I'd love to see them. Yeah, a lot of times you do end up with body cams and more. So it would be pretty fascinating to check out, I'm sure. I'd love to see that too. You know, here we have our chase. Ale, thank you also for the new Hungry Turtles edition. I like it. I thought it was funny. I did pull it up. I will throw that in there for tomorrow. I think that'll be a lot of fun. What's up, Palmer? Archer, not Archer. I always say Archer. Homestead. Thanks for the 9 months. You would think by now I wouldn't do that. What is that? The AWTHES. What is that? Am I just not thinking of what that means? Can somebody translate that for me? Is it a typo, or am I just not thinking of something? My bad too. You know, some days like something just doesn't sting in. Can deny all they want. Oh, is that anti what the hell's? I see it. Okay, I got you. Ecosystem. It's anti what the hell's ecosystem. I got you. Yeah. I've never seen anybody use every letter there. That's interesting. It looks like all those. The all those. I like that. It's funny. Can deny all they want about the money. Yes, there are so many who've seen it, plus screenshots. I know, exactly. Exactly. And then feuding over it is interesting too. I really, if Lynette doesn't do anything to secure her bag, then they have expended money for other things. You know, one of the things that also struck me, there were the not so subtle threats that were made toward Lynette, like when she spoke up. They said they could go further with statements. They could say much more. You know, they were telling you, I know things about you. I will reveal all. I can only imagine what kind of schemy bullshit, you know, and they're telling you mutual self-destruct. But again, you know, it'll happen anyway. Just ultimately when it happens and when you're tossed under the bus, you know, can you be $18,000 richer? You know, will you be tossed under the bus for nothing, or you be tossed under the bus and actually get a little bit of a payday out of it? I wonder. But yeah, we did see that. You were right. Singing cheap, thanks for that. Money for the auditor, or for lug and bug tea and scone fun if it doesn't happen. Indeed. Thank you. Let's get more transparency for Michelle. Then we have with indeed. That whole subject makes me mad. It does. You know. It's a fraud. No. It wasn't. Oh, that whole subject really makes me mad. I tell you, I've seen people over that subject. I have seen people that cannot agree on anything. Like they would argue over nothing. Like let's say Orange Man and Stephen King, right? They disagree vehemently on everything. If they agreed on one thing, they would disagree just not to agree. You know, it's like that. But on that subject, there's agreement. It's very bizarre, you know. So it seems really weird. Again, you have people out there, you know, people that are so spiteful toward one another, and you know, you can feel that way towards someone. You can just totally hate them. I understand that with politicians. I feel that way. I feel that way about all of them. Some days, you know, I feel like I want them to sit alone and do nothing. Don't damage anything, you know. But you know, people like that, right? You know, that will just do the opposite of somebody just because. Then they agree on something like the nefarious island monster. Yeah. Weird. Bonnie, thanks for the 2 there. Auditor money. Indeed. I'm telling you. I mean it too, Lynette. I do. I mean it. Auditor money. LaWanda, thanks for the 5. Please pray for my sister-in-law. She's in the ER right now. Her liver is failing you. Thank you. Yes, indeed. Everybody out there, please keep LaWanda's sister-in-law in your prayers for sure. You know, by the way, my thoughts are with you as well. It's a rough time when you have loved ones that are suffering. So, you know, again, you remember that. You have friends. You have people who care about you. Thank you. Too. I appreciate you. Janice, thanks for the 10th there. Lynette sees something she wants. It becomes a need. She can't manage money. She's in her 60s, has 0 savings, and nothing but a Jeep, so she can't afford. It's sad and don't understand how it happens. Well, here's the thing, though. She had $50,000 at least. She did have a nest egg, and she wasn't allowed to have it. And I mean, yeah, she's not. So I wouldn't trust her with my money. I wouldn't give her a dime of my money. One second. Sorry, I had to cough. But I wouldn't give her my money, nor would I ask you to give your money to her. There would be no way in hell we would not do fundraisers for her. You know, and if if she does want an auditor for real, like I said, we'll figure that out. Oh yeah, for sure. You know, we'll make that happen. But that is on, again, that would not happen in a vacuum. That would happen with, I would get the person, and if need be, we would talk to a lawyer too. We could talk to a lawyer about getting your money back. Oh yeah. But I don't think it would come to that. I think if these people thought that you would actually come for your money, they'd give it to you. I think they may tell you, you know, you'll never get it. They'd raise hell about it and stuff. But ultimately, I think if a lawyer actually stepped in, I wonder if DUI guy would be busy. Wouldn't that be something? Hey, I need a letter. Can you recommend me someone and nothing else? I wouldn't let anybody control it. I would control it myself. For sure. But oh God, I would find out about money. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we would talk. Auditor first, and then we could talk about everything else. These people, you know, though, it does piss me off that, you know, I told you about the only me thing. That actually did bother me. When we brought that up, it bothered me that a dude gifted that much money and that money didn't go where it was supposed to. You know, it didn't go into the project. The projects haven't even started. Like if suddenly we start whipping up any type of attempted movement, that's damage control, you know, because it's gotten so bad. They've already tried damage control, like the $1,000 bounty thing, all of that, these attempts at redirection, them trying to point the finger at everyone else and be like, that person, this person, that person. They're trying to put their listeners off so they don't think about what's happening here. Because if they do, if they notice all these people are abandoning ship, I mean, look at how many people have dropped off of them since it started. And then on top of that, look how many of them have opened up and told you how bad some of this stuff is. They told you about some of these folks that are involved. Look at their records. They speak for themselves. Oh, man. What does it take to open a person's eyes, man? You know. But yeah, I mean, you're right, Janice. You are, for sure. Okay, Cat Lady, thanks for the 10 there. 20 more subpoenas today. 16 YouTube channels already. Yeah. Every day, people, not big channels, some, not money, some survivors. No one's reporting it. Oh, it's definitely getting collected, and I've been watching with it, and I've been talking to some of the people involved there. I've seen a couple of channels step aside too. You know, the thing that sucks about that, look, they won't pull this. You're talking about the Blake Lively stuff, by the way. That's what they mean. That's what they're talking about if you don't know. The thing that sucks about this is they won't do that to mainstream media. They'll do it to independent media because that's what YouTube is, ultimately. It's independent media. And yeah, it's attempts to dox. It's attempts to attack. You know, we dealt with the same type of BS. We're dealing with the Amber Heard situation. You know, they were going after platforms and more. They were trying to go after everyday users, and ultimately, you have like a main channel that's really been vocal about standing up, and it's told everybody to reach out. Has been Popcorn Planet with Andy. You know, they've been lining up defense. You can get everybody together. They can talk about a lawyer, you know, and not go and defend it, because yes, there's going to be tiny channels that are involved in that too. And it is an attempt to muscle people, and they need to respond correctly. They don't need to flip out. They don't need to delete things. They don't need to do anything, because ultimately, you think about this. It's a person that doesn't like what you have to say, saying ultimately that you've somehow done something nefarious. Well, what's the difference between what I'm doing and what the mainstream media is doing? I can have my own opinions. There is no, by the way, if you think there's some kind of call for, you know, like what makes a journalist different than what we're doing right here? Well, there is no credentialing to be a journalist. You can go to school and call yourself one, but there is no, at the end of the day, there is no way to differentiate between me doing what I'm doing, small press, large press, other than the name that's attached to it. And usually the big donors and backers. You know why they don't come after mainstream? Because usually they have their fingers in it. You know, the money in it. But it's not going to get any mainstream reporting. That's not really going to happen. Because they don't care. You know why? Because it's the competition. Ultimately, people don't need to freak out about it. They just need to get together. They need to talk to people that can help them out with it. You know, like I said, Andy is, I mean, they've been talking about legal funding, but also he's put it out straight up. People need to reach out to him. In that way, because, you know, they all need to coordinate. I mean, that's actually very important in this. They all need to get together. They all need to coordinate, even though that's not saying that you've coordinated before or done anything. It's just that it needs to be addressed in a specific way, you know, and they need to understand, like, you don't need to panic about it. They can't. This is just somebody trying to throw their weight around and fuck them, you know? What a bully piece of garbage. I'll look into some more of that, though. The more I think about that, is annoying. I think I'll look a little more into that, too. Jack's mom, thanks for the 2. Shouldn't the welder be listed as an asset? Yes. Yes, indeed, it should be. It should have been listed with assets right from go. You know, just like anything else. Plus the jewelry and everything else should be, you are right. Animals, everything. It should all be listed on assets. That is not a good way to go. One Rad Tech. Thank you for the 6 months there. There's not a statement, man, but 6 months. Half a year there is a statement. Thank you for that. That is very much appreciated. Fallen Hero, thank you for the gifted membership there. Thank you very much, gifted, for that gifted membership, Fallen Hero. That is awesome of you. Thank you for being here too, my friend. As always, you know, you are very appreciated. Colleen, thank you. Drop that gifted membership too. Thank you there. I'm getting the side-eye cat. Side-eye cat. I like it. That is awesome there too. Love it. Angela, thanks for the file there. Do you think money was funneled to attorneys and paint chips involvement? Someone's paying costs. I do not believe BBB paid anything. I do wonder about, like, again, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any definitive proof there. But it is interesting when the people that don't usually stick around for anything unless they're getting the payday, they are sticking around suddenly, right? You know, that's when things get a little bit bizarre. And attorneys and stuff, I mean, I know they had a contingency. Like I said, they had a contract to get paid on the back end. And that blew up. You know, that went down in flames. So, with that one. But, yeah, I don't know about the other. I don't know. Like I said, I think it's weird that people who are like, give me money, they actually stick around this trade. But anyway, I think I've gotten everyone there. All right. I think I'm going to call it a day here. I appreciate you folks. And I'm not sure he's lying. Like I said, I'll start checking probably next week there. But I'm going to call it a day. I appreciate y'all. And I will see you.